Hey folks, welcome back to Duke Frazier Productions. Things are going to be a little bit different today. This is pretty much an informal video, just kind of me sitting here talking to you, and I'm testing out this new T5i camera that I've got and see how it works out. So the topic today is getting started out with black powder cap and ball revolver shooting. So I thought about this one for most of the day, tried to figure out what would be the best way to start out in this sport. And it's probably what I could advise is how I got started out in it. Very first cap and ball that I ever bought was this one right here. This is a little 44 caliber Confederate 1851 Navy that I got from Cabela's many years ago. And for the price on them, it's a good way to get started. Now for the quality, well, they didn't make 44 caliber 1851 Navies ever. Nor did Colt ever make them with brass frames. This is kind of a copy of the Griswold, should be a Griswold revolver. But for just sitting out and shooting at the range, if that's how you want to get started and you've never done this before, that's a perfect way to do it. Pretty cheap. If you decide it's not your piece of the pie that you want to do, you're not out a whole lot of money. And also with the brass frames, you don't shoot as much powder with them because they can't handle it. So you save a little money there. Now if you want to move up from that a little bit, you kind of want to get into the sport good, then I would go up to either the 1860 Army or the 1858 Remington. Now all these that I've showed you thus far are Pieta. I'm not the biggest fan of Pieta revolvers. I've had hit and miss with them. Some are really good, and then others not as good. And then for minor details, they kind of miss the mark on there. But for price wise and functionality, I've never had a major function issue with the exception of this little brass framed one with any of my Pietas. They've all functioned pretty well. And for just somebody that's going to be out planking and shooting, that's perfect, because like I said, you're not investing a lot of money. Now another option out there is, of course, is the Ubertis, and their quality is much higher, like on this little 1851 Navy. The one nice thing of Ubertis over Pietas is that they don't have any stamping on the visible area of the barrel. In fact, you have to drop the loading lever to see where it says 36 caliber made by Uberti, that thing. So for historical accuracy, if you're going to use these for a living history event such as Civil War reenacting or just general reenacting, they're perfect. It's just like it's the same on the Walker. And in fact, the Walker's even got the manufacture date US 1847. And the same thing there, and all the marking is underneath the barrel. So that's one thing I really love about the Ubertis, and plus their functionality. This is one of, four Ubertis that I have that I bought brand new, and the only one I've had problems with is my 1873 4440, and they were minor problems. But all these cap and balls, they've been superb. And in fact, I'm trying to transition out to having all Ubertis, so my 1860 Pieta I'm probably going to get rid of and buy an 1860 Uberti. But if you're just getting started out, Pieta is absolutely the perfect way to go. If I was brand new, I would take this over this because for one price, this thing's like a $400 to $500 pistol, where that's maybe at $250 to $280. I think I even seen them for as low as $200 when I was looking around the internet last night. So price wise, Pieta's better, but for quality wise, I would go with Uberti. And just as a general rule, don't go buy a Walker for your first pistol, because this is a monster. It weighs 5 pounds. And that's a lot of money to invest if you're just getting started out and don't know whether or not you're going to like it. And then the other thing you want to think about when you get started in this is your powders. You've got to buy gunpowder, lead, and your cap, so you're pretty much your own hand loader every time you shoot one of these. Now I used to shoot a lot of Pyrex when I first got started. I have switched from that now. I pretty much only shoot true black powder, mostly Go-X. That's because Pyrex is a little more corrosive than your true black powders. I don't know what it is. There's something about it that makes them rust really fast. So when you get into this shooting thing, and if you're shooting Pyrex, one thing you got to keep in mind is you're going to have to constantly clean your guns. I mean, you shoot 6 shots, you shoot 26 shots. You're going to have to take it home and you're going to have to clean it, because that Pyrex will ruin it pretty bad. In fact, this first one I had is pretty well rusting up, because the last thing I shot in was Pyrex, and even though I cleaned it pretty heavily, there was still enough left behind that caused it to rust up. The nice thing about true black powder, well, for instance, this thing right here, I shot this thing over a month ago, and I stuck it in the holster, put it on the cleaning table, and then I got busy with other things and I completely forgot about it until today when I pulled it out, and still got the powder residue in it, but there ain't a spot of rust on it anywhere that I can see. So that's the nice thing about true black powder, is even though it is corrosive as well, it's a little more forgiving than Pyrex. And you also have to think about what's available in your area. Like here, I have to drive 30 minutes to get my Go-X from the nearest store, and even then he doesn't carry a lot in stock, so it's hit or miss on whether I get any. Now you can get it on the internet, but a lot of places require you to buy 25 pounds at a time because of all the paperwork and the shipping costs that come with it. Pyrex, on the other hand, Pyrex you can get most anywhere. Here locally, I used to be able to get it at Big R. Now they don't carry it anymore. I haven't seen it for a long time, but you can order it from Cabela's right online. So there is that little bit of trade-off. And then also you got to get percussion caps as well. That costs a little bit of money. And I'll do a little bit of a calculation to kind of run out what the cost is per shot on these things, and I'll put it on the screen here. So I'm going to kind of wrap this up, and hopefully it's helped you out a little bit if you're getting started into the shooting. Like I said, this is a really informal video. I'm just kind of throwing words out there to see where they splatter, so to speak. Anyway, if you like what you've seen here so far, be sure to hit the subscribe button below. Check us out as well at www.facebook.com/Duke Frazier Productions. And remember, keep your powder dry.